Okay. History class interview with Chief Schlotic, Tyler Fire Department. Take one. Chief, you could just introduce yourself for the camera. Tell us who you are and what your position is and how long you've worked here.
My name is David Schlotic. I am the Assistant Fire Chief of the Tyler Fire Department. I've worked for the Tyler Fire Department for 37 years. I reside in Tyler. I have resided in Tyler for 40 years. Married. I have no children, have a stepdaughter, and I have a granddaughter.
Okay, well that took me to my next question is, are you married and your grandchildren and you with one granddaughter? How has your family handled your position going all the way through the ranks from fireman, driver, captain and everything? Because the schedule is 1 day on and 2 days off. How has your family handled your schedule with you being gone and with just kind of the background dangerous nature of the job? How have they handled this?
By and large, my wife has adapted quite well from the very beginning. We were married just about 6 months before I went to work for the Tyler Fire Department. And times were pretty lean back whenever I first went to work. I was really happy to be able to get the job with the Tyler Fire Department. And from the very beginning, she's been extremely supportive of whatever I have been able to accomplish in the Tyler Fire Department. At the very beginning, my wife is a school teacher, and or was a school teacher, I should say. And she actually had a job with the city of Tyler at the time that I went to work. When I went to work in the Tyler Fire Department, you were required to have one course of study was called Reading and Study Skills. It was part of the fire curriculum. And it was the only course that was required to be taught by a certified teacher in the state of Texas. Not in my class, but the class after mine. My wife took that job on for the city and did it for 5 different academies in the Tyler Fire Department. So she's had a real close understanding of how the fire service works from the beginning.
So your wife actually helped out with the hiring process after you were on board?
Not so much the hiring process, but rather the educational process. When I went to work for the Tyler Fire Department, we ran our own fire academy, and we would hire people with no training whatsoever in the fire service. Then we would take them through our fire academy, and they would learn the basics of firefighting in our academy. They had to meet the state criteria, the state standards, and the state standards were 435 hours in a varying number of subjects, but one of those subjects was the reading and study skills. Since then, that area of study has gone by the wayside, and there have been other areas that have taken its place.
Okay, well, on that note, what are the prerequisites for being hired at a beginning level as a fireman for the city of Tyler now?
Currently, to go to work for the Tyler Fire Department, you must have a high school degree or a GED. You must have a good background. If you take our entrance exam, to be able to take our entrance exam, you must hold certification of a firefighter in the state of Texas, and you must hold a minimum EMT certification under the state health departments. Okay. That will allow you to take our entrance exam. Once you take our entrance exam, if you pass the exam, then if you happen to have military background, if you've had an honorable discharge from the military, you've gained 5 points on your standing. And everything from that point, being a civil service department, is done by your standing on that list. We start at the very top and we work our way down the list. You have to have a good, clean background. You must take care of your financial responsibilities. I've often told people, for many years, we had a gentleman that worked in our prevention department, which were also our certified law enforcement officers. And they did the background investigations on a great number of our employees. Well, for many years, one of these people that did the background investigations also was in the military, in the Navy Reserve. And his job in the Navy Reserve was doing security background investigations on people in the Navy. He would tell people every day that the background investigations that we did to go to work in the Tyler Fire Department were more stringent than a level 2 security clearance in the United States Navy. So I always felt pretty good about the fact that we knew by the time somebody got to go to work here, they were pretty clean people.
I do remember when I was getting hired, I also was in the Navy, and I had the level 2 security, and they do the financial background, and they call your family and everything, and I thought to myself, I won't have anything to do with that. That's a stressful process, only to come get hired here and go through even a more rigorous one, followed up by a polygraph test, which you have to tell some stranger every dark detail about your life that you have been trying your whole life to forget. Yes, it is a very stressful procedure, but I think that it's a process that's necessary to only get the qualified people that are going to be here for
The beautiful
their career.
part for us is the fact that once a person successfully completes all of that background and actually is hired into our department, it is very seldom that that person leaves our department other than a retirement. And I feel real proud of the fact that a great number of our people serve their entire career with nothing but the Tyler Fire Department. There are a lot of other departments that people department hop day in and day out, and we're just not one of those departments. We are the pride of East Texas. I know a great number of departments around East Texas have firefighters that just can't wait for the opportunity to go to work for our department, and I'm really proud of that.
Okay, that's good. You said you've worked here for 37 years.
37.
In 37 years, I'm sure you have some personal, professional accomplishment. Now, I know the department has accomplished several things along the way, but what are some things that you have accomplished professionally during your tenure?
Well, the one thing that I take most pride in is the fact that I feel like I'm kind of the one that drug our department into the computer age. We had the very first wide area network in the city of Tyler. I was able to put that together with the support of our fire chief at the time. Paul White came to work in 1991, and Paul was very supportive of me in putting together that computer network. We did a lot of extensive training with our firefighters, remembering that in 1991, most of the people in our department had never touched a computer keyboard. They had never touched a mouse. They had no idea what a computer was other than that thing that everybody blamed whenever they didn't get their paycheck. And so it was quite an experience to try to train a bunch of firefighters on how to use a computer, how to use a computer mouse. That is one of the things that I take pride in, feeling like I had a finger in. The other thing that I really take great pride in is that I was a founding member of the Texas Association of Fire Educators, a statewide organization for fire service instructors. And I served on the original board of directors. In 2001, I was voted as the Earl Malone Fire Service Instructor of the Year, and that was a statewide recognition that I really take great pride in, even to this day, as a fire service instructor. There's so many things that I feel like I've had my finger in. Having served as the assistant fire chief now for 12 plus years, you're in a position, you're at a level to where you have a great amount to do with the direction of the department. And so I feel like serving in the position that I serve in, that I have had, working with many others, not by alone, it's not an individual effort by any means, but I feel like I've had some impact on the direction of the department for a number of years.
An accomplished career indeed. Now, I know your schedule now is, they call it a 40-hour week schedule, but I wouldn't put an hour time frame on your actually time spent. But before you worked in the administration office, you worked the typical fire schedule, which is 24 hours on and 48 hours off. When you were with the men at the station working, is there a significant event that stands out in your memory that maybe, crap, I kind of lost my train of thought. Is there a significant event that stands out in your memory as a career changing or a career identifying incident or fire?
There are a number. Of course, you know, all members of our department, no matter what their level or rank, they begin as a recruit firefighter and they work their way through the ranks, taking promotional examinations. I'm no different than any other member. I was appointed as the assistant fire chief rather than having to take an exam for that position. But the fire chief in our size department has allowed the opportunity to appoint one person in the position immediately below that of the chief. I am that appointment. I've held that appointment since 1990. Well, technically, I was appointed assistant chief in 2001. The thing that you ask about accomplishments, there are a number of accomplishments. Of course, I've made the fires like everybody else, and I have a whole bag full of war stories, so to speak, of fires that I've made. But in the later years of my captain's position rank, they were looking for someone that was interested in working on day shift, not being on the 24 on 48-hour rotation, but rather going to days. And that's a real traumatic experience for most people in the fire service. One of the great advantages to working in the fire service is the fact you work shift work. And it's a rare breed, I guess would say, that is willing to go to the 40-hour week. We had a training officer that was talking about retirement, and they had put the word out, anybody that was interested in potentially going for the training chief's job, that they would put them on days and give them the opportunity to become familiar with it. At the very same time, there was some reorganization taking place on our hazardous materials team, and I was placed in charge of the entire hazardous materials response team. During that period of time, we had a couple of really, what I would call large-scale hazardous materials incidents, and I always remember the Fruitvale train derailment in 1983 was one of my really big incidents that I took care of. We had our hazmat team, and we were up there for about 30 hours. Quite an experience.
Okay. Did you feel, at the time, like the training that you had, did you feel prepared to handle the situation in a safe and efficient manner?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most firemen you'll find have an ego that they're always going to feel like they're prepared.
We're always prepared for anything.
We're going to make it happen. The thing about the fire service that I've always tried to express to people when they go to work here, we are one of those professions that we have to have a broad range of knowledge. We have to be willing to apply that broad range of knowledge to make a hard and fast decision and then make that decision work. We don't have time to sit for hours discussing whether or not this will work or not. We have to decide this is the way we're going to do it and then jump on it and make it work.
I like that. We don't find out which decision works. We make the decision and make it work to each individual scenario.
Absolutely.
As a fireman, that is my experience in how we handle most of our situations. So you do feel like you've always been prepared through training programs held by the department to do your job.
At the time that I experienced the incident, I've always felt like we were prepared. Now, as we progress through years in the fire service, you realize that many of the things that you did many years ago could have been done in a much more efficient manner, or it could have been in a much safer method of doing it. A classic example, when I went to work in the fire service, the standard mode of operation was freelance. Every crew showed up, they decided, here's what I'm going to do. Without direction, they jumped on it and made it happen. Now, with incident command structure that we've placed firmly in place in the fire service, that is not allowed. everything is a coordinated effort. I think it works much better. It's a much safer environment for our